सेंटर में आइए सर। करण सर थोड़ा सा इधर।
सर यहाँ पे, करण सर यहाँ पे, सर यहाँ
करण
पे,
सर सेंटर लो।
सर
सर इधर। करण सर सोलो सोलो सोलो।
करण सर सोलो।
क्या लुक किया? इधर लुक किया?
सर यहाँ पे, सर यहाँ पे,
सब फ्रंट सर, दिस साइड।
करण सर लुक किया?
करण सर।
Friends marks a milestone for us, a moment that we've all been building towards, the formal launch of the bridal retreat. An idea, a philosophy, a movement that's been quietly evolving within us for a long time. While the digital preview was released a few weeks ago, and many of you may have already engaged with it online, today is when we truly bring this purpose to life, together in this space. The bridal retreat is not just another offering from eFactor Experiences. It is in fact an expression of a deeper belief that we are choosing to anchor our future around. The belief that emotional infrastructure is the new infrastructure. We've spent over 2 decades in the wedding business, designing, producing, delivering the most exquisite once-in-a-lifetime celebrations. And yet, something within us kept whispering, there's more to do. Yeah, and thank you for being with us today. See, I am not as natural as you are, so I'm sorry that I'm having a paper in my hand. And a few personalities do kind of intimidate a few people, so consider me one of those, Karan. But thank you.
No.
Thank you for being with us today.
No, I'm very easy to interview or to be interviewed by, so don't worry.
I hope I'm not making this an interview, but it's actually a conversation.
Yes, of course.
And which basically also is an extension of what we were speaking of in
Yes.
the morning. So Karan, you've spent your life telling stories that have shaped how nation imagines romance, relationships, and family. But you know, in the context of where we're living today, what does love actually mean to you beyond the screen, beyond that spectacle?
I think the definition of love for me really has moved with every decade of my existence. Love to me in my 20s was the love that I received from my parents in abundance. So love meant protectiveness. Love meant sharing your good days and bad days with your immediate family. In the 30s, then you seeked love in the form of romance. And then you realize that that can be, and at least to me it was, a lonely process. So love meant loneliness to me in the 30s. In the 40s you find self-acceptance. So then love meant acceptance and self-love. And 40s I began my love story with myself. Then my children were born, and then the definition of love moved from romance to your parental instinct. And from the age of 44, and now, you know, till 50, now I'm 53, but about 8 years, love became like responsibility. Love became parental instinct. Love changed for me over the years. But broadly, if I have to define love, it's always truly just meant companionship. I think we add layers of romance and intimacy, attraction, but eventually I think two people in any relationship can only thrive on companionship. I think the line in my very first film, which was said with true hallmark honesty, resonates even today, कि अगर आप किसी के दोस्त नहीं हो सकते तो वो रिश्ता आपका प्यार में बदल ही नहीं सकता. So I believe very simply today also love is friendship and companionship.
No, beautifully answered, and it also actually helps us understand that it's an emotion which changes with time and also with people that you are in love with or people that you love. So Uh, to the context of weddings, Karan, you've seen so many weddings, at a very large scale, at times very extravagant, and also instances in shadis that are very emotional. I'm sure you've seen all of that up very close because you've seen weddings in more than one way. So, what is the one thing, if I may ask you, that you think most of the people forget to honor, to recognize while in the process of planning that spectacle for the world?
I think most of us look at weddings when we attend them as a celebration. They look at it as beyond like a ritualistic, like just beyond the rituals and beyond the broad feeling for anyone attending a wedding is a celebratory feeling, a feeling of celebration. What I think most of us never understand is the deep level of angst, anxiety, and insecurity that the couple actually are feeling at that time. It's a change of everyone's lives. Families, you don't get married to each other. Families get married to each other. So the anxiousness and the insecurity of you broadly fitting into each other's lives. And I don't say this only from the bride's perspective. I say this even from the groom's perspective. Everything's going to change for both of them. But with the bride, societally, so much is expected to change. And that's where my problem lies. Being a strong feminist and always wanting to break the walls of patriarchy myself, I feel that we kind of annul what she is going through because she's combating her inner insecurities, but she's also combating outer perceptions. And I think we, as family members or friends who are attending the wedding, are just seeing the beauty of the ghagra, the lehenga, the gota work, the embroidery, the beautiful fine jewelry, the beautifully done makeup and hair and floral setting. But are we really, really looking into her soul? Are we really looking into her inner heart? And are we really feeling her angst, her insecurity, her pain, and of course her love, and her abundant love? But we don't want to see that because we are seeing all the outer. We are never seeing the inner. And I'm glad that your endeavor, takes a root into the inner self of a bride, beyond and above the trappings that surround her.
No, so thank you so much for automatically actually leading to my next question that I was wanting to ask. When we first spoke and you immediately said, yes, this is something that moves you, would you please share a little more about the sentiment that came about in your mind when you first heard of this initiative?
I think broadly when we talk about anything to do with weddings, we're always looking, as I said, on the exterior. But I think the bridal retreat was really a retreat in many ways because it talked about the mind, it talked about the heart, it talked about, of course, the cosmeticness of it all. But I love that you have, well-being people on your panel. I believe everybody needs to be therapized. Everybody needs that sense of soul searching. Everybody needs that sense of nutrition. And I think we annul all that when, we talk about a wedding. And I believe the bridal retreat is the first of its kind as a platform. Because everyone talks about, when you go to wedding planners and you talk about shadi planning, everyone talks about, bhai, tent itna bada hoga, itne kamre honge hotel mein, decor aisa hoga, shadi aisi hogi, jakmak shadi, chandelier aisa lagega. Everybody is seeing that.
And so will come and perform.
And ye aayenge, wo aayenge, sab kuch aayenge. I said, but aapka dil kahan hoga wahan? धड़कने भी तो होती हैं, दिल भी तो होता है, और वो तेजी से बढ़ती है. And I believe the bridal retreat is about acknowledging the heart, the soul, over and above the outer beauty. And that's why I agreed and wanted to be a part of this beautiful emotional endeavor.
Thank you so much, Karan. We're very, very excited, extremely looking forward to your helping us champion this initiative.
Absolutely.
Forward. And my next question. Today's bride isn't just planning an event, she's actually stepping into a whole new version of herself. What do you think she needs the most? Not from a checklist, but from her circle, from her community, from maybe herself.
Actually, a bride, a woman, needs nothing. And that's the big problem. Is that
you guys should actually clap for
yourself. I think people think a bride needs something. A groom may need something, a bride needs nothing. Let me tell you, the most resilient gender on planet Earth is that of a woman. She is stronger than a man, no questions asked. Everybody wants to ask a bride what she needs. That's where my problem is. Why have you presumed she needs something? She doesn't need anything. She knows her life, she knows the path ahead, she can rule the world. Ask your husband what he needs, because he always needs his mother's blessings.
I totally agree with this. I totally agree with this. But do you think there is something that then holds them back? Because
It's societal pressure, sometimes parental pressure, parental expectations that you're supposed to be feeling things. You know, and that's where I think the order has to change. And I think there's a certain progressive modernity that has crept into the fabric of our society as we speak. And now the bride is so much the new bride, the new age bride is so much in control. You know, she's not succumbing to in-laws' wishes necessarily. She's not succumbing to her to-be husband's demands. She is calling the shots. And I can see that at weddings, and I love that. The bride today is the bride forever, and the bride who knows what she wants. Heart, head, and everything else.
no, but I'll tell you something. We totally believe in this, and this thought resonates beautifully with us because we are four pillars of EFACT, two couples that got together and started the
Yes.
company.
And when I see the two couples and I see all of you united as a family, I can see the women also have, not also, mainly have a perspective. And I see that the men allow it, not because the word allow is because they seek their allowance. They allow themselves to flow with their vision.
And also we
And-
find value. Also
Absolutely.
we find value.
And I'm somebody who's been raised by a strong woman, and my mother calls the shots in my life, no questions asked. She's the queen that rules our house and our hearts. And had there to be a marriage at my end, I never got married and never went through the dynamic of a marriage. But I do know what it means. Where they say the woman of the house, I'm like, no, let's not gender neutralize or generalize anything. It's the individual of a house. And most often, the strongest member will be a woman.
No, again, thank you for saying that because these are all virtues of your personality over a period of time that we've seen from the outside. We've observed whenever we got opportunities, and we've read, which is what got us to
And what I
decide
love,
that.
and might I add that with the bridal retreat, you know, I know the focus is on the bride, and one would imagine when you walk into an enterprise like this that if we're going to see it from a certain lens. But what I absolutely love is the lens is actually only emotion. Your entire gaze on this platform comes from emotion. So anyone who is engaging with Bridal Retreat has to know that you are actually coming to an extended family who will care for your compassionate needs much more than actually the outer surface cosmetic needs. And I love that about this enterprise, and congratulations once again, because what the two couples have done together as a family have truly created something emotionally groundbreaking more than anything else.
Thank you so much for saying that. And my friends, if you could, this is actually for the two ladies of the enterprise, and ably helped, backed by Reshma. So thank you all of you. And thank you for directly, indirectly recognizing their efforts, because without that, I don't think so this day would have been possible, Karan. My last question before I introduce two more people on this conversation. You've actually worked with very powerful women, both in front of the camera and also behind the camera, friendly life, family life, professional life, whatever. You spoke about ma'am being the matriarch of the house. She calls the shots, but what have your interactions with these powerful people, and maybe sometimes not so powerful people that you've dealt with, what have they taught you about strength, softness, maybe transition that a woman experiences before she's entering this new phase of her life?
So I was raised, as I said, I'm an only child to my parents, and my mom was the only child to her parents. So my aunts were really, all of them were my main family that I grew up with, and all of them were working women. They all worked, professionally, or worked for an airline, and all of them were hugely progressive, massively liberal and wholeheartedly emotional beings. So I was raised, you could say, by many women at a very early stage of my life. So my value system taught me a few things that only women can teach you. Women can teach you the ability to express yourself. Men rarely do that. They always keep themselves, emotions very deeply embedded in their hearts. Women express themselves. They tell you what they feel. And I think that's the big lesson that I learned at an early stage, to always express my emotions, because then I carry no baggage and I walk light. So that's the one thing that I learned from women, achieving or not. Just expressiveness. The second thing that you will be taught by a woman that a man can rarely teach you is your emotional quotient, your EQ. Now, how can you really brush your EQ? Some can do it by watching movies, reading books, or just purely being a good listener. And I think your emotional quotient is equal to being a good listener. We all are so caught up with our own words and our thoughts, we rarely listen. And I think when you listen, you can really contribute to being a true high person on the emotional quotient radar. The third, and lastly, the most important, is compassion and kindness. It takes very little to be kind. It takes very, very little. In fact, I feel it takes a lot more not to be. You know, you really use all your negativity and negative juices to flow for you to not be kind. Kindness can be simple, easy, and absolutely and always available. And compassion is your understanding of somebody else's circumstance and being able to read the room and then tap into a conversation post that. These are the abilities, these are the characteristics, and these are the elements that women, all kinds of women that have come into my life from the age of, like when I can recall, from the age of 4 till now 53, women on set, women off set, women I've worked with professionally, women I've known personally. The one common thread that has bound my relationship with women have been these three qualities.
Beautifully expressed, and thank you so much, because you know, आप जब ये सब बातें कहते हो तो हमारा conviction, हमारा belief हमारे इस project में और मजबूत हो जाता है. And taking this forward, I would like to introduce one of the pillars of this initiative, Sonali, who you met in the afternoon, one of the lady founders of the enterprise. Sonali, you had a few questions that you wanted to.
Hi, Karan.
Hi, Sonali.
Thanks for being part of us. So thank you once again. So my first question goes out to you is, you've told some of the most iconic love stories in Indian cinema. Now, what makes this bridal retreat a powerful story for this generation bride, but of course, off screen? So what is your take on that?
Well, I think the fact that the entire gaze and lens is on the, I would say, the emotional quotient of a bride tells the beautiful story of a woman who actually walks with her emotions on her sleeve, even if the sleeve has beautiful gota work on it. But the focus is on the emotion that she carries on her sleeve. And one doesn't look at it with her sense of insecurity or her sense of like anxiety that she's facing. But we look at her decisions, her celebrations, and we celebrate them. We celebrate her in the best possible way, and I think this is the new story to tell, because the lensing is what has changed. It's now from her perspective, and I love that about this enterprise, that the entire way she is our protagonist, she is our entire being, our entire film. We start with her, we midpoint with her, and we end with her. She is the be-all and end-all of the wedding, and I love that.
Thank you so much.
One second, Sonali, before you go on to your next question, I'm being very candid in asking you, can we pick up some of these lines from you that you've spoken of today?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
With pleasure and pride.
I know, because they're very, very well expressed, so thank you once again. Now, my second question is that if you could whisper one thing into the ear of every bride just before her wedding day, what would that be? As a storyteller, but also as someone, you know, who deeply understands emotions and, you know, how all these things play on a psyche.
Just 3 words. You've got this.
Good.
That's it.
That's very simple and very effective. Thank you.
And आपने कहा था ना कि चलती उन्हीं की है, so हमारे घर में इनकी चलती है. So my wife Monica, and obviously an important part of this whole
Yes,
setup.
I had the pleasure of meeting Monica.
So, Monica,
Yes.
your questions, please.
First, Karan, thank you for so openly acknowledging what Sonali and I bring to the table here. And thank you for so unabashedly also talking about how strong a female presence and how productive, progressive, and positive impact it can have, the impressions that it creates. So I wanted to ask you that if you were to be curating a bridal retreat for someone who's very close to you, as per you, what would be the 3 things that you'd say are most imperative?
I think the first thing I have helped and curated some weddings, so I can only say this from a personal space and from some of my experiences. The first thing is I've always spoken, because I tend to be always somehow closer to the bride in most marriages that I've been part of, where I've always asked her, what kind of wedding really do you want, irrespective of what your family or his family or everyone's combined families may believe. Do you want something, do you want the shebang, the big shadi, or do you want an intimate wedding, something that you will remember for the rest of your life? That is the first question I've always asked, and always approached any wedding with that very first ask, is what is the emotional scale, not just the physical scale, the emotional scale of your wedding, your preferred wedding. The second, and most importantly, is does this wedding mean, firstly, is there enough love in your heart to take, this decision? Because sometimes I think we tend to not ask anyone, a bride or a groom, whether they're ready, for it. In fact, my order is a bit skewed because this is the question I would ask first. Firstly, are you ready? Second is what kind of wedding you have. And third, and I believe that, is like, what are you wearing? Because that to me is very important. Because I'm somebody who believes that everyone's, heart and soul is very important. But to me, aesthetics have always mattered as well. And I'm always very worried that, one of them will make an incorrect choice of lehenga and shadi, because I'm like, those images are going to live for life. And I'm going to stare at those. I'm like, you've got to look like, no, and stunning is subjective and beauty is subjective. But at least I believe that our personal aesthetics, if we have them, we can offer them to the people we love. And there are many who I've made them change their decisions even last minute, because I've said, nahi yaar, this is not going to work. So because I feel like there are many decisions that you make on what you wear, but you forget to know what the surrounding is. And when I go to many weddings, and I've been to several, I'm like, has no one spoken to each other? That फूल ऐसे होंगे, डेकोर ऐसा होगा, स्टेज होगा, और आप ये पहन के आई हैं और आए हैं. क्या कोई coordination किसी ने नहीं की है? And I believe that everybody has to come together to make the groom and bride look stunning, because they are the people whose wedding it is. And I'm like, suddenly पीछे पीला, आगे लाल, कहीं और नीला, and I'm like, this is, for heaven's sake, this is not a color card. It's a wedding. I'm not saying everything should blend into each other, but at least there should be some attempt. So my third inquiry is always on the aesthetics.
Well, this is a message which holds true for so many of us who represent the wedding business in this room. So thank you, MJ, for asking, because this solves many problems for many people here.
It also takes me back to the time when we took that pink cloth to create the environment.
Yeah.
So, Karan, thanks. That answers for sure. I also, because you spoke about asking the girl, are you ready? You have always been a champion of supporting authenticity. You celebrate and recognize individuality. What, as per you, would be, how important do you think these qualities are for a girl who's about to get married, step into a public space? How would you talk to her about these aspects? Because these are the boundaries that one really has to navigate once you're stepping into another family.
I don't look at it like that at all, because I don't believe she's stepping into any space that she doesn't want to. And I hope that's the case with most women. I feel like, as I said right at the top when I aapse baat kar raha tha, I believe that the expectation is that she should feel something or the other, and she should feel fear or anxiety, but I'm like, no, I think she should feel nothing. She should just feel joy and happiness. And that's what and the fact that if she's feeling anything but joy and happiness, then she should not be taking that step, and that is her decision and her prerogative. And nobody should make a bride feel like she needs anything or has to change or alter anything. If anything else, everybody else should make their changes, because she knows what she wants.
Questions done? Yeah. So what I also understand is that maybe there is a little repositioning of conversation that is also required, because the question should change from something is missing, because nothing is missing, which is
The
exactly
question
what
should be that there shouldn't be a question asked. That is the simple thing. One should not ask, because you should know that there doesn't need to be an inquiry if there is already a kind of a self-satisfaction that the woman has reached in her place and in her heart. And I think we tend to, as parents and even as family members or friends, we tend to say, are you okay? But why have you presumed that she is not okay? Why aren't people asking the groom this question is my biggest, because the way our societal functioning is, that we're tuned to feel that the male component of the house, the man and his family are meant to be in a superior place. It's not the case anymore. And I hope that keeps changing and evolving, because I believe very strongly in the power of equality. And I believe today, if at all, the woman of today is truly in charge. And at a shadi, she better be in charge, because she knows much more. Emotionally, aesthetically, visually, and even with her heart, she's much more equipped to be at a wedding than most other people are.
So reinforcing the confidence which is there, at times maybe getting lost, because continuously people are talking that something is missing. So maybe that confidence is there, but it's kind of getting lost somewhere.
Yes.
So get that out. Back in there, because it's there. So that's one. And a purpose-led economy is what the country is wanting to propagate today. So, which is where, when we spoke of emotional infrastructure being the new infrastructure for most of these experiential things that I think the industry is attempting to do. And the fact that the female and the woman power is paramount.
Yes.
Just that it needs to be brought about better for recognition and acceptance, both within the house and outside of the house.
Absolutely.
So thank you for supporting. Thank you for being here with us, Karan, and we're extremely proud, extremely happy to have you on board, helping us take this initiative
Thank you so
forward.
much for having me, and this has been an absolute pleasure, something I truly believe with, and I'm so glad that both of us have been, and all of us have been on the same page about addressing this enterprise with emotion, and that means the most.
One last word from you for the Bridal Retreat team.
My experience with the Bridal Retreat team has been immensely pleasurable. It's made me realize that actually, when they say home is where the heart is, but the heart also has to be at the workplace, because you can't just feel like the heart can be left at home, because the heart has to walk with you everywhere. And very few enterprises and very few businesses and very few infrastructures allow us to actually operate with a heart, because we so get into the modalities of things. At the Bridal Retreat, I felt that you carried the heart with you. You function from your heart, you operate from your heart, and therefore your work will always have heart.
Thank you so much. Before we finish this and request you to be with us there for high tea, can I request the core team first? So JT, Sonali, Manika, Reshma, Ariman. So we'll do 2 pictures here with your due permission, and after this we'll get another batch of people, please. So, Mandy, where should we stand, here or there? Behind?
Mandy, please.
Can I request Mandy? Mandy, please. Vrinda, Sarika.
For IT, and please make sure there are media kits that you collect from us.
इसके अंदर पीछे गाइड वाला ये आईटी पिक्चर्स वेरी गुड
एक मिनट हट जाइए प्लीज सर, हट जाइए।